resolution, we will call our meeting to order. It is good to see a room full of people, as always. We've got lots to talk about this evening. We did have an earlier 4 o'clock meeting where we had a budget presentation, but tonight at this 5:30 meeting, we will have our public hearing on the FY 2025 budget. That will be our first order of business. And then we'll call to order our meeting of the workshop of the Tifton City Council. Also want to remind you that in the workshop, we won't actually be voting on the items that we're discussing, with the exception of the agenda. That's the only thing that we'll actually vote on this evening. But we will be voting on these items, most of these items anyway, when we have our regularly scheduled meeting on the third Monday of the month, June. So with that, our public hearing is called to order. I'm going to turn the program over to Emily Beedman, who is our city manager. And Emily, I'll let you present what needs to be presented for this public hearing.
Thank you, Mayor. As you mentioned, the budget was in detail at the 4 o'clock meeting. With the public hearing that we have this afternoon, I'm just going to kind of go with some of the highlighted information that we have. The general fund for this year's budget, we are proposing FY 25 budget to general fund $20.4 million. This is an increase from last year's budget. As you know, we had unexpected expenses with the city that we had to account for, which did increase the budget about $460,000. The water and sewer fund, both are operating very well. That budget is slightly increased from one budget year to the other. The gas fund and solid waste enterprise fund, both are running a little bit behind, so we were very conservative this year with both of those budgets for a decrease. We account for the total ARPA funds. Last year we were at $7.7 million. This year we have $4 million that we need to spend. Again, those are locked into projects, so there is no wiggle room there. SPLOST funds are operating very nicely. Last year we were at $12.4 million. This year we're at $14.7 million. Again, with the financial investment from the Georgia Fund 1 account, that certainly helps with that. Hotel motel is increased. We are seeing the effects of tourism there. Last year's budget was $1.8 million. This year's budget is $2.8 million. The multi-grant fund is another one. We do operate on lots of grants. A lot of times this does come with a city match. We're lucky this year to have 8 grants that will not require a city match. But the multi-grant fund was $5.6 million for FY24. FY25 is $10.7 million. Again, a lot of this is the ARPA funds that have to be expended this year. And then something that's new is the CDBG grant fund. We did not go out for this grant last year, but we will go out for the grant this year, and don't believe we've heard anything but that. We're budgeting $790,000 that will be used for housing rehabilitation. So that's kind of a snapshot of our total budget. And at this time, we can open up the floor for anybody who has public comment.
Okay. Rob, do you want to handle the public comment portion of that? Okay.
This time, you heard the summary of the budget from Ms. Beeman. At this time, I'm going to open up the floor. Does anyone here like to make any public comments regarding the proposed 2025 budget? There be no public comments. I ask the public hearing be closed.
Okay. All right. Thank you for handling that, Rob. All right. As we presented a few minutes ago, we're now going to call to order our workshop meeting. And we should have agendas back on the podium back here if you'd like to grab one so that you can follow along. Our first order of business is to approve the agenda, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, but we do have an item we need to table. So, Emily, I'm going to ask you to explain to everyone what we need to do with that particular item.
Number 6 was there was as we were looking at the structure of our fees, making sure we are comparable with other communities, there was a House bill that was approved this year through the House and the Senate. It's House Bill 461. that has some regulations on how we're able to apply permitting fees, whether it be by construction value, square footage, salary of the employee. So they're, instead of kind of piecemealing this and bringing this now with a possible rate increase and then coming back to change for a structure change, we would like to table this hopefully until next month's meeting, so we can see how this is going to fit and bring all the changes back to you at one time.
Okay, so we'll just table that till next month, you think?
I'm hoping next month,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So that's item number 6, gentlemen. So I'll take a motion, if you don't mind, to approve the agenda with the exception of item number 6, which we'll table to a future meeting.
Motion of approval of the agenda with tabling December 6th.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, and now I have the honor of doing something special for one of the best municipal court clerks we have in the whole world. She's right here in Tifton. Miss Gail. This room, but we do film all of our meetings. They are all on YouTube, and they are aired unedited. And so this microphone does allow my voice to pick up and your voice to pick up for that YouTube filming, and our cameras are right back here. So we have something that we're going to do for Municipal Court Clerks Week. You get a week, and we're very proud of you. So our proclamation in recognition of Municipal Court Clerks Week says that municipal court clerks play a significant role in ensuring that municipal courts preserve public safety and promote quality of life in the city of Tifton and local municipalities across our state. Whereas the procedures for the City of Tifton municipal court operations are set forth by the Uniform Rules of Municipal Court and other laws in the state of Georgia. Whereas more people come in contact with municipal court clerks, and the public impression of the judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal court. And whereas municipal court is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, municipal court clerks act in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments and significant role of the municipal court clerks play in preserving public confidence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary, now therefore, I, Julie Smith, Mayor of the City of Tifton, do hereby proclaim the week of June 10th through the 14th as Municipal Court Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal court clerks, Gail Drayton, Chief Court Clerk, and all municipal court clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent and serve. And I have signed it. It has our city seal. Jessica White, our city clerk, has signed it. So, Gail, thank you for what you do. You want to just share a little bit? You want to introduce who you've brought with you today and just share a little bit of what you do each day?
Okay. This is Shakina Floyd. She's our deputy clerk at court. We have no citations. We have no some civil cases. We handle phone calls out of this world. You just wouldn't believe the call volume that we handle for court. And most of the time when people call us, they're kind of upset. But for the most part, we could get them calmed down and get them taken care of and move them on. Get them to pay our fines, yes. So, but I thoroughly enjoy being Tifton's municipal court clerk. And this year I've served on the Georgia Municipal Court Clerks Council as our vice president. Yeah.
Let's give her a round of applause. Gail, I'm very glad that you do that job because there is no way I would want to do what you do, so thank you. Thank you for doing such a great job for us. Next, I'm going to call on some friends of ours, Mr. Alec Joyner and Miss Crystal Bell, who are going to talk to us about the Tifton Alzheimer's Association. So Alec and Crystal, I'll turn the floor over to you, and you can just come to the podium here and take your time and share with us what you got.
All right, great. Thank you for having us. I am Crystal Bell. I'm with the Alzheimer's Association. My office is here in Tifton, and we do serve all of Southwest Georgia. Before I turn it over to Alec, let me tell you a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association for those of you who may not know. The Alzheimer's Association provides care and support services for individuals and their loved ones and caregivers who are facing a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. Provide education to the community at large. We have education programs for firefighters, first responders, and medical personnel as well. And we, first and foremost, we provide research. We are the world's largest nonprofit funder of research into hopefully finding a cure for dementia. We are making progress. We've entered in what's called the era of treatment. There are now treatments that can delay the onset of symptoms. And this is a huge step forward because until now, there's not been a treatment of any kind for Alzheimer's or dementia. And so all of this is made possible by volunteers who support the Alzheimer's Association in so many ways, through advocacy, through program support, the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And I'm going to turn over to Alec to tell you a bit about the Walk to End Alzheimer's here in Tifton.
So the walk, I'll introduce myself first. My name is Alec Joyner. I work for Edward Jones here in Tifton, but I'm also the chairman of the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And the Walk to End Alzheimer's is the main fundraising arm, if you will, of the Alzheimer's Association. And so less than 1% of the Alzheimer's Association's money comes from Big Pharma. So the majority of their money is actually crowdfunded. And the Walk to End Alzheimer's is how predominantly they get that money. And we wanted to come and just talk a little bit about the Alzheimer's Association, but also talk about the walk. The walk's going to be this year on September 16th. Am I getting the date right? 21st. I apologize. It's going to be a Saturday, and it's going to be downtown. And we also wanted to shout out Hillary. She's been a great partner with us in helping us have spaces and a place to fundraise. During the second Saturday that we participated in recently, we set up a table and we were able to raise $365 for Alzheimer's Association just by putting some bouquets together and selling those. And last year she was a great partner as well. The Main Street program and the TMA were great partners in letting us do the walk downtown, and we plan to do that again this year as well. So we just wanted to talk about that and also say we appreciate the partnership, and that's all I got.
All right, well, thank you for what you do. It's such a detrimental disease for both the people who have the condition and especially their caregivers. And so thank you so much for that work. And Hillary, thank you for making our downtown available to combine the joint efforts of the walk with the second Saturday. Makes very good sense. And I know that the last time we did that was very successful. So thank you for that. Gentlemen, any comments that you'd like to make or anything you'd like to share? Okay. All right. Thank you, Alex. And we appreciate you and Crystal being here this evening. Under old business, we need to bring back up an potential ordinance adding regulations for abandoned shopping carts. If you'll recall, we had that discussion at one of our previous meetings, or a couple of our previous meetings, and the request was made to postpone it so more information could be gathered and then we would readdress. So I'll open the floor up. Emily, is there any new information that needs to be shared?
I would just say code enforcement, I will pass these down. This is a one day right around town, these shopping carts around town that we have. Our code enforcement officer nor our building inspector could be here. They have some sickness going on, but they did type me up something I'd like to share with you. From a code enforcement standpoint, shopping carts in the right-of-way negatively impact the city of Tifton due to issues they create related to the cleanliness of the city and safety hazards that they impose. They receive numerous calls made by citizens and business owners voicing their complaint about the issue. This year alone, we've received 10 to 12 calls concerning issues with shopping carts in the right-of-way, explaining that individuals often have to drive into oncoming traffic in order to miss or from striking a cart. On one occasion that stuck out in code enforcement's mind, these individuals did call about shopping carts in the right-of-way and in the street. They had children in their car, which poses a greater risk of injury of swerving into oncoming traffic. These carts are often discarded, full of debris, full of belongings, which pose the risk of them being stuck or sending debris to the road. Too often, carts filled with debris, the property owner does not want to come and claim them. By hopefully passing this ordinance, what we could look at doing is making the roadway safer, where we have a leg to stand on to be able to go pick the carts up, rather it be for disposal. And then shopping carts in the right-of-way not only degrade the aesthetics of the area, but they are also potentially a risk to public safety and public health if it's not discarded promptly. So nothing else has changed. In my research of looking at other cities that have implemented this, many of them, we have a 24-hour pickup notice. If we call them, they have to pick it up within 24 hours. If not, then they would be fined. Many of the other cities, they have a 72-hour removal. So a 3-day removal. I think that could be fair. And then the cost that we would associate with this, the fine, $75 was substantially low compared to other cities. Other cities had cost of $375 for the first buggy and $125 for all shopping carts after that. We do not want to be that strict. We just want to be able to have a leg to stand on for, if they don't want to pick them up, we'll pick them up for them and clean up our community, obviously with an offset of a fine. Now, if they come and get them, that's fine. There is no fine imposed. So that's really the only addition that I have.
Okay. I see you didn't include my picture of the one in Fullwood Park.
I'm sorry, I did not.
All right, gentlemen, any questions, comments? I know we had a lot of discussion about this at our last meeting, so I'll open the floor up for anything else that you might want to ask or share, or we can save that for our third Monday meeting. No comment? Everybody good? Okay, all right. All right, thank you for that additional information, Emily. All right, under new business, we have a review of bids for the 2023 Local Maintenance Improvement Grant resurfacing. Adam Cobb is going to provide that information for us.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Back to LMIG. Want to do some more paving with the LMIG 23 resurfacing project. We have put it out for bid, and there were 6 bidders in total. The lowest bidder was Reeves Construction Company with a base bid of $1.903 million, which is higher than what we originally expected. But you have to remember, wheels of government turn slowly. But I'm sorry, my mind has passed me. Inflation does not move; it moves way quicker, right? So, we have Miss Emily has taken the time to find where the money should come from through some T-SPLOST money, the LMIG grant, and SPLOST 5 and 6 to be able to fund this project, which is a little higher than what we originally thought, estimated. But that's what we're here to just recommend to award this contract to Reeves Construction. Looking for your support with that.
Okay, and once the bid is awarded, when would approximately the paving, what date?
Normally speaking, you award and they have a short time of gathering materials and getting ready so that they can come to this job site. Probably about 2 months is generally what they look at before jumping into paving. But as you also know, the LMIG waterline project that we did ahead of that, those are in completion. We're hopefully looking at maybe 2 more weeks before they're totally done.
Okay.
So that puts it right on the back of that being
Okay.
completed out.
All right. Gentlemen, you can see the streets that this bid would include: Woodruff, Prince, O'Quinn, Murray Avenue, Larkin, Hunt Road, Harlan Avenue, Hargret, Greenfield Drive, Edgefield Drive, Davis Avenue, Bellevue, 22nd, Alder, 18th Street, 15th Street, 6.5, Florida Drive, 5th Avenue, Central Avenue, Pine Street. So I do know that covers, that taps into everyone's district, so that all that paving's not happening in just one location.
And I do commend you guys on, I mean, this is a really strong stance in showing the community that they're, getting stuff and it's in, all of the community, not centralized locations or whatever. But to do that, because they deserve the good roads to ride on,
Absolutely.
and they've been neglected in the past, and, I commend you on putting the efforts in doing this.
Thank you. All right, any questions on any of the resurfacing comments, gentlemen?
It'll be good when it gets done.
Yes, it will.
Let's get
It
started.
will.
Today in our budget presentation, I brought up kind of the council's goals, and one of the goals that y'all said was we need increased paving. And I talked about this. Used to, we wouldn't go very much above what the grant was. The grant's $250,000. This is one of the first times that we've actually taken a good stance to getting roads paved, and it's going to be this way for a little bit to catch us up where we need to be. But luckily, we are very financially sound. As you can see, we do have some funds coming from SPLOST 5. Being familiar with SPLOST, when you read the agreements that is between the city and the county, you have a certain amount of time you have to spend that money. If you do not spend that money, it reverts back to the county. So we are hoping to exhaust those funds in SPLOST 5. Again, we're in SPLOST 6. SPLOST 7 starts in January. So we are moving right along and spending these funds as we should, because it's community funds.
Sure. All right. Any comments, gentlemen? You good? All right, we'll move on. Again, we removed item number 6, or tabled item number 6. I'll go on to item number 7, discussion of facility rental at the Bateman Youth Center. So, Emily?
I'm actually going to turn this over to Dr. Tiff.
Okay.
She's here, and she knows the need better than we do.
But every time she comes up, she asks us for money.
I know. Welcome to my world.
Listen, I know, but I haven't. Listen, that's right. I haven't called, so don't say yes yet. But anyway, I will say good evening, Mayor and Council. And so basically, I'm standing here before you all just to ask you all to approve just a rental agreement for the youth center. I've been getting some calls since I've been in the building. Just people, the whole mission is, of course, for people to come in and do activities or programming for the children. And right now, currently, we have it such that whenever people come in, they're able to use the facility for free. Not talking about using the entire building, just basically the multi-purpose room, which of course just encompasses just a big room. Just wanting to be able to do maybe some extracurricular activities, which may include but are not limited to maybe some leadership classes that someone may want to come in and do. I know last year I got tapped to have someone that wanted to come in and do some tutoring, but they wanted to charge for the tutoring. And right now, we were not charging to do anything. Everything that the kids do in that building is free. Okay, and so I just wanted kind of maybe to assess a fee. So we wanted to maybe have some etiquette classes that might be, that might have to charge a fee. And these fees might not be astronomical. It might be just for the services, or maybe just the equipment that, the person may have to use to actually make the class go. So it's not an astronomical fee. So we wanted, you all should have the packet in your things. And so if you just look at that, we're asking that if they wanted to use that multi-purpose room, that, just be a $600 fee. Of course, it's an hourly rate of $75, and then, of course, there's a deposit for $75. They would not have access to the kitchen or anything like that. It just would be the multi-purpose room. So, and of course, it would align with our mission, like I said, and our mission, which I've got to get it to Miss Green so that she could post that, which of course is empowering, of course, and inspiring the youth through encouraging or engaging programs while fostering a safe and supportive environment where young people can thrive, build resilience, and reach their full potential. So, of course, we want to be able to bring in, while I'm on that note, today kicked off, of course, our destination game day, so you all can come in with your passports. We had a citizen that came in that, of course, like I told you all last week, I just need to have a standing place on the agenda once a month at the beginning, just to share. Come in, and this lady, I'm telling you what, I'm talking about the volunteers that are doing this program. These volunteers are adults with disabilities. that are volunteering to take care of these children, and it has gone very, very well. They stopped in Europe today, and they visited the UK, and the game that they played today was called Stuck in the Mud. Okay? Stuck in the Mud. So they're going to be in Europe tomorrow, and they're going to be cooking gyros.
Oh.
Okay, so just come by if you want to, get your ticket, your passport stamp. I mean, they went through the entire lesson about passports and everything. So please stop by if you want to. So if there are any questions about this rental agreement, please ask at this time.
Okay. Gentlemen, anything?
Dr. Tip, I just have one quick question.
Yes.
I don't know if I understood this right. It's a $300 deposit, and then the hourly rate would be $75?
Yes, what we tried to do was I looked at Miss Fran's rental agreement kind of at the
Leroy Robertson.
senior center, and just tried to taper it toward that, and that's where I got kind of the numbers from. Just try to water it down as much as possible. I mean, it's a brand new building, so I just wanted to, kind of make the price kind of comparable to make it be new and let people know that it's very, very new, and that's the way we want to keep it.
I would say the senior center is $750 to rent, with an additional if you want to use the kitchen. The kitchen here would be off limits, just because this is you're looking at an hour to 2 hour classes. Typically, you wouldn't have the full day rental that would come with that, so it would be $75. There is a deposit of $300. We use that almost as a damage deposit, should anything not be cleaned up or something happen. We do have that, and then if you remember, we did discuss this at our annual planning retreat, and MJ had some concerns in regards to the building. It's a brand new building. Are we ready for this? So we went back to the agreement, and on
Number
in your
20.
packet, number 20, it says that nothing can be affixed to the walls, tape, glue sticks, glue nails, pins. So this would cover us, and then we would have the deposit to where if the building's damaged, we could possibly keep that. But the amount of people that has reached out to Dr. Tift about renting the facility. Now, reminded, this is not a multi-purpose senior center where they can rent it for birthday parties, anniversaries. This would be solely to the mission of the building for the youth.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question for you.
Yes.
It says U Center / URA director will administer the rentals and collect payment. So would a director be on premises during the time of this, or would they just come and unlock and then come back and lock up? I was just wondering how that would take place.
So between myself and, maybe another city employee. So it'll be completely staffed with someone from the city, either myself or someone that we might be able to use.
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Tift and I have, we discussed a few options today. It would be no different than the senior center. You have what's called a building supervisor. So, hey, where's the extra toilet paper at in the bathroom? They would be able to show them where it's at, kind of the hostess that would be there. We would utilize some city staff to do that. But yes, there will be a representative of the city on site during the entire time that they are there.
Listen, I can't leave $1.4 million to chance with anyone. Okay, I'm just saying somebody would have to be there the entire time. Yes.
Yes,
Any other questions, gentlemen?
that's all I'm on.
Okay.
All right,
All
thank you,
right.
Dr.
Uh-huh.
I think that's good. Thank you. All right, Emily, next item will be review and discuss the proposed changes to the city's retirement plan.
All right. This is a big topic among employees. If you remembered back in the winter, we brought this before you. So as a city manager, I can begin negotiations with Georgia Municipal Association and Siegel, who is our actuary, to talk about other areas that we can possibly enhance our benefits, more importantly, our retirement plan. As we all know, this new workforce, or this new generation coming into the workforce, they think a lot differently than we do. They do not think long term. They are not interested in a pension. That does not keep them here with the city. So we wanted to make sure we're offering benefits that is comparative to other organizations, other cities. So with this, we have had multiple conversations with GMEBS, Georgia Municipal Association, Siegel, who is the actuary, Lisa and Larry from our finance team, as well as Jocelyn in our HR department, has all been a part of these conversations to see what the best benefits would be. I am bringing this tonight as a topic of conversation. We would have to pass an ordinance, and then once these summary plan document is completed, we would need to bring that before you. But today is just a very big snapshot of what we are looking at. So when the summary plan document gets here, we can go ahead and go with the regulatory meetings to get that approved if you want to approve it. So what we currently have a defined benefit plan. Your defined benefit plan, that is your pension plan that we currently have now. If you remember in my presentation today, I talked about how we were so underfunded for so many years, and we became very aggressive at putting our money back in. This year, I'm proud to say that after this year, we will be funded. Our pension plan would be fully funded. So that gives us a little bit of wiggle room where we can be creative and make other changes and offer employees the benefits to attract them here. So what we would like to do is, with the defined benefit plan, we would also like to have a defined contribution plan through GMA. A defined contribution plan is very similar to your 401k that you would put in. It substitutes really as a savings account after retirement. The pension plan is not a savings account. That goes until the day that you die. So with the defined contribution plan, we would like to add this plan as something new. Any employees hired after the effective date, we were hoping for the effective date to be July 1. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to have 2 readings for an ordinance. So it may be August 1. But any employees hired after that would have the education from Human Resources to where they can choose either one of the plans. They can choose one or the other. With the defined contribution plan, the new plan, we are looking at a 5-year vesting period. The city will match, it will be a 457, but the city will match that with a 401k. Both plans will require a mandatory 3% contribution. So any employee that works with us, they have to choose 1 or 2 plans. Because what happens is when they begin their career very early with the city, after they've been here 10 years, they look back and say, well, can I go back and be in the retirement plan? Well, unfortunately, no. And then they say, well, I just didn't want the pension, but I want a retirement. This gives them both options. They can choose whichever one. But the thoughts with this, as with the mandatory 3% that they would have to contribute, that would go into a 457. The city would match that 457 in a 401k. Anything above the 3% mandatory contribution and up to 6%. So if somebody puts in 6%, they're mandated 3%, they're putting in an additional 3%, the city would match them at 3%. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then with the defined benefit plan, which is the pension plan that's still in existence, we would like to include in-service distribution for existing employees who reach their commencement date regulations. This will allow them to still work with the city, and they can cash in their benefit, and they can begin pulling their retirement from that. We will have a vesting change from 10 years to 5 years. 10 years is very similar to what many cities do. We're one of the few that have a 10-year vesting period. But you would have 2 plans with the same vesting. So they're not choosing one just because they're vested faster. What you don't want to do is you do not want to make your pension plan top heavy. By that, with every employee coming in, if they see something with a vesting period of 5 years, well, most employees don't stay anywhere longer than 3 to 5 years. They're automatically going to choose that. So you don't want your pension plan to go away, and you don't want to create something that's top heavy. So this would create that perfect balance for both of them to be able to choose. With the defined benefit plan, I would like to add that the in-service distribution is at no cost to the city. What we would do is once they commence, if they work for another 2 years, we would go back and recalculate their pension benefit, and you may look at a few $100 that the city would have to pay just to kind of catch them up. But it's a little to no expense. To change for the vesting period for the defined benefit plan is an additional cost of $6,942 a year. $6,000 a year. With the way we're going with the pension plan, we can definitely do that. We have to put in additional contributions. This year's that $1.1 million. Next year we won't have that $1.1 million, so this is a drop in the bucket to what we would have. And then for the defined contribution plan, there are no upfront funds with that. There is nothing that we need to do. It's an additional fund that goes in. We match that employee if they want to, match it. If they go above the 3%. The only typical cost you're going to have is the service cost that you have with the pension plan. So the pension plan and the defined contribution plan goes to the same company, but in simpler terms, it goes to the same company. So you're not having a fee for this plan and a fee for this plan. It is one fee that would come into the plan. And right now we pay about $170,000 a year for just regulatory, for them to monitor the plan, administer the plan. So this would be no different, and you wouldn't have a very large increase from implementing the new plan. So that is kind of a roundabout where we are. One thing I would like to add is the pension plan. We're right at $1 million from being underfunded. We're doing a $1.1 million contribution this year, so this sets us up very nicely for next year and allows us to explore other options to make sure we are an attractive employer for people entering the workforce.
A lot of information.
I'm sorry.
Well, Emily, of course, met with all of us individually and explained everything to us. I myself like this idea of giving them a choice here. And the only thing I asked Emily is, like, please educate our younger generation as they come into the workforce, and she assured me that most definitely would. So I like the idea.
Yeah, I agree. Any other comments, gentlemen, or any questions? Emily or Jocelyn here, HR? Any
I
questions?
think she explained it pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer to me.
Okay.
I have one quick question about the defined contribution plan. The city match up to 6%. You said that if if an employee were to put 6% in, then the city would match 3%, right? Because they're mandated to do 3%.
Yeah, they have to do 3%, but anything above that, the city would match up to 6%.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So they couldn't. So they could put in personally. They could put in 9%, get 6% from the city. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what would happen.
That's exactly.
Yeah,
right.
so
Up
they
to 6%,
put
okay.
in the mandatory 3% and say they want to do addition, and they're now putting in 9%. The city would come in and put the 6%. Now, anything after that, the IRS has regulations where you can't put in, a certain amount above. So there is that ceiling, but yes, we would go up to 6%. And I'd like to tell you, the pension plan that we have, we did kind of the rough cost of benefits for the city. It's about 18% per employee that we pay for the pension plan. And that's why the pension plan has went away in a lot of entities, because it's so expensive to maintain. But we have been very aggressive the past few years, and we're in a good stance with it to be able to do this.
All right, any other questions or comments? Good? All right, thank you so much, Emily.
All right.
Appreciate that information. All right, you want to go ahead and give your manager's report?
I think I have
I think
talked
you covered a
enough.
lot.
You've talked a lot tonight. All right, any council comments? Does anyone have anything they'd like to share, anything going on?
I'll share over Memorial Day weekend. Councilman Franks and myself joined the American Legion and took our sons out to
I heard about that.
put flags on veterans' graves, and I enjoyed that so much, and I believe our kids did too. And it was just very heartfelt and definitely a good time to share with our children, what men and women fought for our freedom. Then to follow that up, we had a wonderful Memorial Day service, and good Memorial Day weekend.
I agree. All right, any other comments?
Dr.
gentlemen?
Cleveland was very, very good in that. Dr. Cleveland. speaker,
Yes, he did a great
he's
job.
Very, very good at the memorial
Yes,
service.
he did. Very good job.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Yep. Good. MJ, anything? Lester? Good. All right, I am too. We do have, you do want to go into executive
Yes,
session
ma'am. I'd like to admit, for personnel
personnel?
reasons, yes, ma'am.
So, I'll need a motion to that effect.
Motion to go into
All right,
executive
there's
session.
second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll take about a 3-minute break, and then we'll go into executive session for personnel.